You ever notice how the whole world can just freeze on a dime? Like one minute you're lost in the clatter of silverware, the hush of wine glasses, the quiet hum of money moving through linen and bone china, and then snap. Something happens, and it's like the universe holds its breath. That's exactly what went down at Lepon, right in the heart of Manhattan on a night I'll never forget. There's this billionaire, Ethan Caldwell, old money, old prejudices, the kind of guy who could freeze a room just by standing up. That night when he did, every single fork stopped halfway to every single mouth and all eyes swung to the corner table where he was staring down at Sophia Jenkins, one of the best servers we had and the only black woman on staff. Ethan stood up so fast his chair actually squeaked against the polished wood, and under the glow of the chandeliers that fancy navy suit of his practically announced itself. "I don't understand how a place like this could have someone like you serving me," he sneered, each word thrown like a dart. Sophia just stood there, knuckles white on her tray, doing her damnedest not to show him how much it stung. You could feel the shame burning her face, but she never flinched, just held on to her dignity, even as the whole room was staring. Nobody said a word, not even the manager, Richard Harris, who stood off to the side with his mouth half open, looking like he'd just swallowed his tongue. The pianist stopped playing, which never happened, and all you could hear was Ethan's voice ringing out. "I said, I don't want someone like you serving me. I came here for a top-tier meal, not some diversity sideshow. You know that feeling when something's so wrong but you can't look away?" That was the whole place right then. Sophia didn't break. She just took a shaky breath, looked Ethan straight in the eye, and said, "Sir, if you'd like, I can get the manager to discuss your concerns." There was a quiet strength in that, like she was standing on the edge of a cliff and refusing to step back. For a moment, Ethan went silent, thrown off by her composure. Then bang, he slammed his fist down, knocking a glass of red wine across the tablecloth. "I want you out of here. Now! You're an embarrassment." Around the room you saw anger, embarrassment, and for some the spark of something else, solidarity. Let me back up a sec. Sophia's journey didn't start at Lepon, or even in that room. She grew up in Queens never knowing what it was to feel completely safe or wanted. Her parents worked themselves to the bone and still couldn't keep prejudice from slipping through the cracks. She dreamed of becoming a ballet dancer, but life had other plans. She got pregnant young, the guy bailed, and from then on every day was survival mode. But Sophia never folded, not even when people whispered or called her names. Her daughter Lily was her world, a little girl who loved to dance, who deserved better than what this world was handing out. Working at Lepon was supposed to be her shot at something more, not just for herself, but for Lily. It was a place where you had to be perfect, where just being hired as a black woman was basically a statement. She learned the wine list by heart, ironed her uniform until it was crisp enough to cut, worked twice as hard as everyone else. And still there were those sideways glances, those whispers from coworkers, Emma and Caroline, with their not-so-quiet, "She'll never be able to serve our high-end clientele properly" talk in the hallway. But Sophia kept at it. Each time she polished a glass or memorized a menu item, it was like she was fighting back, proving she belonged. And sometimes regulars would notice, ask for her by name, tip a little extra. Those small things kept her going. But the pain never went away. Every night she'd come home, hold Lily a little tighter, and remind herself that she was doing it for her daughter's future. All of that led to this night with Ethan Caldwell. When the regular server for his table, Julian, twisted his ankle in the kitchen, Richard turned to Sophia with a look of desperation. "I need you to cover for Julian tonight, Sophia. There's no one else." She knew what that meant. She squared her shoulders, said yes, and walked toward Ethan's table, knowing full well she was walking into a storm. From the second she introduced herself, Ethan made it clear she was nothing to him. "I've rarely seen someone like you in places like this," he said. She kept her voice calm. "I'm confident I can provide you with a most satisfying evening, sir." He scoffed. All night he made little digs, questioned if she could open a bottle properly, warned her not to drop the plate, made sure his companion, Aaron Miller, heard every ugly word. At one point she heard him mutter, "This is why I insist on servers who are a better fit. It's disgraceful. Leopold stoops to this cheap diversity stunt." Sophia retreated to the kitchen for a second, nearly lost it, but didn't. She came back out steadier than before, her mind filled with every hardship she'd ever faced and every reason she had to keep going. Then, in front of the whole room, Ethan raised his voice. "You know, Sophia, you really don't belong here. Leopold just wants to look progressive. Do you actually think someone like you deserves to stand here and serve me?" That was it, the moment everything changed. Sophia looked him dead in the eye and said, "You may be able to buy a piece of steak, but you can't buy kindness." The whole place froze, every eye on her, even the staff in the kitchen felt it. Ethan exploded. "What did you just say to me, girl? Do you even know who I am?" But Sophia stood her ground. "I know who you are, Mr. Caldwell, but that doesn't give you the right to demean anyone. I'm here to work, and I deserve respect." He threatened her, promised to ruin her life, and stormed out, his bodyguards trailing behind, slamming the doors so hard you felt it in your bones. Silence. Then the whisper started. Some guests left early, glancing back at Sophia with sympathy or fear. Richard rushed to her side, panicked, whispering, "Do you realize what you've done? He could ruin us." Sophia just shook her head. She wasn't sorry. And then twist. Ethan came back, this time even angrier, promising no restaurant would ever hire her again. Sophia, barely holding it together, simply replied, "If you think refusing to accept your hatred is worth destroying my life, go ahead. I'll never regret standing up for my dignity." He left for good, but the threats lingered like smoke. That night, as Sophia was changing in the back, a few guests came up, offered quiet words of support, told her she'd inspired them, even the old guy who said, "I've seen injustice before. What you did will help others." For the first time, Sophia didn't feel completely alone. And then, like some wild plot twist, the whole confrontation went viral overnight. Some diner had filmed it all. The hashtag Courage of Sophia took off. Millions watched, debated, argued. She became a symbol. Some praised her courage, others attacked her trolls, and Caldwell supporters bombarded her with threats. Reporters camped outside her apartment, hungry for a story. Sophia was terrified, but every time she looked at Lily, she found another ounce of resolve. Patrice Bennett, the owner, stood by her publicly and privately. She called a staff meeting, made it clear that Leopold wouldn't tolerate discrimination, no matter who it came from. The team backed Sophia, clapped for her, rallied around her. Patrice even hired security so Sophia could keep working without fear. But Ethan wasn't done. He tried to ruin her behind the scenes, spread rumors, leaned on his connections. The media storm kept raging. And then, in a moment that didn't feel real, Sophia was called in to meet a special guest, none other than Bill Gates. He'd seen her story, been moved by her courage, and wanted her to help launch Project Decency, a national initiative to protect vulnerable workers and fight workplace injustice. Sitting across from Bill Gates, Sophia realized how much bigger this had become. She agreed to be the face of the movement, knowing it meant more pressure, more exposure, but also more hope. Interviews, TV shows, fundraisers, she did them all, sharing her story, calling for decency and respect. For every threat and smear, there were 10 more messages of support. When Project Decency finally launched at Leopold, Sophia took the stage, her voice strong, her message clear. Kindness and dignity are the greatest forces we have. One person's courage can start a movement. The whole room rose to their feet, clapping and cheering, and Sophia felt for the first time like she was exactly where she belonged. Now, I know not everyone would have the guts to do what Sophia did, maybe even most wouldn't. But if you're sitting there listening to this, ask yourself, would you have stood up? Would you have risked it all for a shot at justice? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Where's the line between survival and standing tall? And if Sophia's story meant something to you, share it, pass it on. Let's keep this conversation and this movement alive.
Là mình lên mạng xã hội tìm hiểu những video
Mas vamos supor, você falou um negócio sério.
It is cold, yeah.
Next one? Alright. Thank you, man. Hey, if you guys have any trouble, let somebody know. Please.
After the tree to hold on to. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're defend.